everyone, I'm Edyta Sitar from Laundry Basket Quilts. Welcome to Quilting Window. I am so excited you are here. Guess what? Today is our first video for our Common Bright Quilt Along. Are you excited? Because I am. I cannot wait to make this quilt with you. You have been waiting long enough, and now let's begin. We're gonna start one little step at a time and try to make all those beautiful units to later on put them together to this beautiful quilt. My quilt, Common Bright Quilt, I have made it many years ago, and I used a lot of different scraps for this quilt. This time I'm going to be using a kit that we have available on our website at Laundry Basket Quilts. Some blocks I'm going to organize a little bit more, others I'm going to do it very scrappy. It's your quilt, your rules, and you can do whatever you would like to do in your quilt. I know in the end you're going to have a beautiful result. And like I said, we're going to start one little step at a time. Today, we're going to focus on making those beautiful 8-point stars. We're going to need 25 of them. We're going to need one for the center and 24 for the outside border. So let's do that. You're gonna select your fabrics, you're gonna cut them following the pattern, and for anybody that don't know, the pattern also is available on our website. It goes Common Bright, and the first page in the pattern right here you have all the cutting directions, and the first step in cutting direction for dark fabric, you have to cut 400 of low diamonds. Those diamonds, you have a pattern in, you have a template in the pattern. I have my template right here from the pattern. I took a little double sticky tape and placed my template on my beautiful ruler called Alaska. If I wanted to use the ruler, if you do not want to use the ruler, you can use acrylic templates just like this one. And I like the acrylic templates for this project simply because as I was making my blocks, I noticed I was able to reuse with this acrylic template all my tiny little scraps. So this is gonna be the time to open the template set and pull up this small template A, and this is gonna be the first one you're gonna be using. I have mine right here next to me, so I'm not gonna open this set because I already have opened a set for myself. But if you wanted to, those templates are available on our website at Laundry Basket Quilts, and they're Common Bright templates. Like I said, I'm going to be working using a kit. In the kit, you have a lot of gorgeous lights, your backgrounds. We're not going to use this pack. We're going to be focusing on this beautiful fat 8s, and there are 61 of them right in here. This is such a gorgeous colors. You're going to cut strips according to the pattern, and there is something different in this measurement. You have 9/16. 9/16 is a little bit bigger than a half an inch. So if you worry about it, make sure you use your template to double check. Tape a line to your ruler so that way you have the 1 and 9/16 on the ruler, and that way your strips are exactly as you need. I would recommend select 45 pieces, any colors you would like. Have your heart tell you what colors you want to do it. Once you cut a strip from all 45 pieces, you just need a one strip. From each strip, you get to cut 9 diamonds, 9 beautiful diamonds like this, and I'm going to show you how to cut. Then you're going to have all your 400 diamonds for this and this area of the quilt for the star. For today, we're going to focus on only 8 diamonds at a time. We're going to talk about 4 in one color, 4 in other color. You want to do the 2 complementary colors so your stars have a beautiful little twirl in the center. So let's go ahead and start working on our block. I'm gonna go ahead and take 2 fabrics. I have 2 strips, one in blue, another one in a lighter blue with a darker design on it and a low orange. I'm gonna place the strips right sides together just like this, and I'm gonna start cutting my diamonds. I'm gonna cut this right sides together, so I already have a little set. You could go ahead and lay all your strips and cut the 9 pieces and then sort from those pieces that you cut it. I'm gonna do this because I'm just focusing on one star at a time. I'm gonna go ahead and move this to the middle so you guys can see it a little bit better. I'm gonna place this right there, and I'm gonna put my template right in the middle. This template is gonna be so handy, not only for cutting but also for marking points when you're gonna come into sewing. So I'm gonna go ahead, first trim, then start cutting, and I'm gonna cut one, move this to the side. I'm gonna go ahead, cut a second one, and for 1 star I just need 4 cuts. Second, let's do a third one right here, and 1 more. Okay, 1 more. I like to cut sometimes just for 1 block, but most of the time I like to go ahead, get my cutting done. So I would have been going and keep cutting because there would be 9 pieces, so I have enough for another star. And you don't have to leave the combination. Instead you can just keep cutting and then swap the color combinations with other colors. But also remember that we're gonna need 8 diamonds right here later on. Those diamonds could be matching colors, or you could go ahead and do a nice and scrappy look to it. So it's gonna be up to you. Like I said, I'm gonna do a little mix and match. My first quilt, it's very scrappy, but this one I maybe organize some of the stars and leave other ones a little bit more scrappy. Okay. Once I have my 4 sets of 2 diamonds, I'm gonna begin by sewing straight down to the point. Where is the point? I'm gonna mark it with my template, and all that I'm gonna do is take a pencil, drop it down, and mark it. I'm using black pencil because I want this to be shown on the video. You do not have to use such a dark pencil. You could use soul line pencil, the pink one, just a little dot so you can see it. I wanted to be able to show you on the video, so I'm using a darker fabric marker. Okay, so right there you're gonna start sewing, stop and back stitch right here at this point. We're gonna need a little Y seam opening there. I'm gonna repeat this to do it 4 times, just like this. Okay, so I start sewing. Look at how delicate my mark is. You can use it, like I said, soul line pencil, a regular pencil, and if you're using this pencil, just a little dot. So straight down, and make sure you have a nice 1/4 inch seam allowance. To determine your 1/4 inch seam allowance, it's nice to take a ruler, place it right over, and make sure you measure. Make sure that your sewing stitch is part of the measurements. Okay, so do not just go ahead and butt it too, because then your 1/4 inch seam allowance is gonna be too small. You want to be part of this. You want to measure with the stitch. Okay, so that's a little advice for you guys. Now you can go ahead, open it up, push your seam allowance in one direction. I already have it right here, so I'm gonna push it towards one direction, towards one of the diamonds. I'm pushing towards this darker diamond, and now I have a nice set of 2. I'm gonna repeat this on all my sets. Just push my seam allowance in the same direction. Notice it, all of them same direction. All 4 sets needs to be done this way. Then I'm gonna take 2, place them right sides together just like this, and I'm gonna go ahead, start stitching from the top straight down. And again, to mark that point, I can place my template, take my pencil, and go ahead and mark a point, so I know to stop and backstitch right here, leaving a little opening. You want a little opening for later on to set in your background. Start sewing, backstitch. Now I have those done for you already. Look at how cute. Now we have a half of the block. This is the time that I love to take a pair of scissors and make sure I clip all of those little threads from backstitching and including my bunny ears right here. I clip it this way and this way, just so I have a nice clean half of the star. I'm gonna open it up, half of the star like this, and again I'm gonna push the seam allowance in the same direction that I have been pushing all of the other seam allowances. I'm gonna now open up that center right there, do the same thing with my other half. Notice I already trimmed it beautifully. Open up, I'm pushing the seam allowance in one direction. It doesn't matter if it goes towards the left or towards the right in this case, because it's not gonna impact any of the next seams that we're gonna be pressing. So all that I have to just do is press it in one direction. I'm gonna match it up, and the first thing I like to do is I put a pin through the X marks the spot. Those threads right here create little X, and this is where I want my pin to go in, because I want to match the center really nice, so I have a really nice transition. Notice how nicely this came out on this side, and I'm gonna leave this pen this way, and I'm gonna go ahead and pin it on the right, pin it on the left, holding the seams nicely down, so before and after that center seam. And now I'm going to either start from the center, stitch out to the outside, stop and backstitch 1/4 inch away from this side. Again, I could just take my template if I don't know where. Do you see how I'm laying and matching the template with the back of the diamond? Mark it up right here, and I can go ahead and stitch from the center straight down, and then overlap with the stitch this way, stop and back stitch. So that way I have a beautifully stitched. You can also start right here if you have marked your diamond. Let me mark it so you see it. Okay, it's very simple. You just want some kind of a guide that you know where is the 1/4 inch line, so you can stop and back stitch and stitch all the way down to this point. I like to sometimes start in the center because it allows me to control that I get a really nice center of my star. And once I did this, I'm gonna go ahead, open it up, and I'm gonna pull the seam in a center, pull the seam to expose and open this little center right here. And now we just finished first of our 8-point stars. We're gonna have to keep going because we need 25 of them. And like I said, you could do two things. You can go ahead, cut all the strips, cut the diamond, pull the color combination, or cut one at a time, leaving the leftovers for later to be able to cut your diamonds right here. I like getting my 45 strips, cutting them, because it forces me to think out of the box and putting a color combinations that maybe I wouldn't expect to do it. So once you have a lot of nice diamonds, you pull four, put them together, and suddenly you have a brand new color combination. And in the end, you end up with leftover pieces, and you're gonna be forced to use them together. And maybe color combinations like a little bit of orange with this brown was not something you were planning to do. So that is my advice for you guys. I hope you enjoy our first video on a Common Bright quilt along. If you have any questions, please join us for Friday live shows. We're gonna try to address them and answer all your questions. If not, just email us to our customer service at Laundry Basket Quilts. And I am super excited for this quilt with you guys. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. And just one more thing. If you are part of our fabric club, do not be afraid. Grab some of those beautiful fabrics from Fabric Club and start using those in this quilt. I think a lot of you have those beautiful fabrics and just waiting for this perfect project. And also, if you're looking for fun threads, I'm gonna be using 2370 for my stitching because my quilt is a little bit darker tea dye, and I love this 2370, blends in beautifully. I'm gonna be using 70 needle for Macrotex needle for my stitching. It works great with the 50 weight thread, and I'm using beautiful pins with glass heads from Clover. Those are my patchwork pins, and you know me, I'm a big fan of those. And just a reminder, anything that you're pressing, use your little finger pressing before you do pressing with an iron, because we don't want to stretch any of those bias seams before we set in some beautiful little four patches. But that is going to be next week when I show you the step 2 in our quilt along. I'm super excited. Happy quilting and can't wait to see you again.